Welcome to Pathways to Greatness, the show where faith meets focus and potential becomes purpose. I'm your host, Jeff Forrester, mental performance coach, speaker, and believer that greatness begins within. Each episode, we'll uncover the biblical principles, mindset strategies, and daily disciplines that help student athletes, parents, and leaders just like you walk boldly in their calling. Let's step onto the path that leads to true greatness, God's way. Good morning and welcome back to Pathways to Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Forrester, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about something that has been a constant thing in my mind, and it's been very relevant lately, and that's around God's plans are rarely clear in the moment. And I don't know if that resonates with you, but it does with me and with people around me, in the sense that there are a lot of things that happen and that go on that we just don't understand. And I've had really good conversations with my daughter as of recent, just around, don't you wish God's plans are clear? And what's amazing is her faith, in the sense that she's like, things aren't working out the way I want to right now, Dad. So I know that there's something greater around the corner. And how wonderful is that? How great to have that perspective. And I've had that perspective before. And being completely honest, as I always try to be here, and is you can say that, but do you believe it? And I've said that a ton. And I would have to say that I believe it, but I'm very frustrated and impatient because I want to know why certain things are happening the way they're happening. Unfortunately, most of those things that happen that plague us this way, we won't know until time has passed and we can look back and see, that's why. And we have to understand that with everything that is currently doing, that's making us better for tomorrow. Is that easy? No. Did we ever say that life here is easy? No. Will we like it? I don't think so. I think if we always got what we wanted, where's the joy? Where's the excitement of having that accomplishment? When you see people that teams will use, volleyball as an example, is that if it's a hard back and forth match, and then you're able to finally get over that hump and win by 2 points. So it's not just win by 1 point, you've got to win by 2 points. So there's got to be some consistency there, that the storming the court is unbelievable. The feel is fantastic. On the other side, the feel is devastating, but you fought and you gave your best. And usually you grow from that. On the other side, when you win, how often do you really grow? I know, again, for me, is when I've been successful is when I've reflected the least, because I think, well, whatever I'm doing is working, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Well, there's fortunate events that have happened that allowed success to happen. Doesn't mean that I was perfect in my approach. So if I was to reflect on that, again, time reveals all things. You can look back and say, okay, yes, I had success, but this happened, this happened, this happened. Was that in my control or out of my control? Well, some of it was in. Great. Let me just continue to do that. And how do I get better? The things that weren't not in my control, how do I assure that maybe next time I can close that gap? So today's topic is around God's plans are rarely clear in the moment. And so I have a lot of different scripture reference that I want to use, and I'll just talk through some things, and it will be a relatively short episode. And so I just want you to be able to listen, ponder, and then use this episode to help you if you're going through something that's difficult right now. If you're unclear of why things are happening the way they're happening. So the first one is Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Sorry about that. So, we're called to trust God's character even when we cannot understand his plan. So Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So God's perspective and timing are beyond our ability to fully comprehend. Jeremiah 29:11. And this scripture reference is one that gives a lot of people comfort and strength when things are tough. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. God has a purpose even when his people are living through uncertainty. Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, and those who are called according to his purpose. We often only see how God was working after looking back. Like I said, time. It's all about time. Psalms 119, 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light unto my path. God often provides enough light for the next step, not the entire journey. I want to dig in with that one just a little bit more when you think about the theme. So again, that's your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. How many of you have walked in the woods at night? If you don't have a lamp on, you're toast. So headlamps are so important. And the idea of being able to see everything gives you comfort during the day, but does it change where you're looking? Yeah, give you a chance to, if you're walking during the day, to look around and see everything. It gives you comfort. Sure, I would much rather walk around during the day than at night. But what happens if you're not watching where you're walking? You're going to trip over a root. At night, you have a lamp to my feet. Your headlamp gives you a radius of sight that you need to see to keep you safe. And why is nighttime in the woods scary? You hear cracks, you hear snaps, you hear noises, but you can't see them. But you have faith in the lamp that if anything comes within that range, you're good. You can defend yourself. Now, if it comes quick, that's a whole nother story. But when you're just walking and you're safe, if you're relatively safe, the only thing that you need to see is right in front of you. That's scary. That's very difficult when you're in an area of uncertainty. Is I want to see outside of that circle. But if you can see outside of that circle, will that take your attention away from what's needed and in your feet? Something to think about. And just so you know, is this episode, like all episodes, it's for me. This is a mental journal, like I shared in the last episode, to help me center myself, get scripture reference to be able to ponder and go through, and then share it with you. So if this doesn't have anything to you, if you haven't had uncertainty in your life and you don't have to depend on your faith to get through a tough time, great. You're amazing. For me, this is a daily challenge. Genesis 50:20. As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about many people should be kept alive as they are today. So Joseph's life demonstrates that God's purposes often become clear only in retrospect. I love the story of Joseph. And I think it's one that if you haven't read it, to go read it because of all the things that transpired that were not positive for Joseph. But when you get to the end and you look back, you see how each moment of difficulty created the person that he needed to be to then save his entire family. Without those challenges, he would have not been able to make it to the point where his family would survive the famine. You also look at how God blessed him throughout the whole thing because he had faith. He knew, even in difficult times, that it's going to get better. Things are going to get where he can survive and not have issues. So if you get a chance, that's my plug for Joseph, the story of Joseph. So John 13:7, Jesus answered him, "What I am doing, you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand." There are moments when God intentionally withholds understanding until later. Let me read that again. I need to have this tattooed on my forehead. Jesus answered him, "What I am doing, you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand." Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. God designed us to trust him because we cannot see the entire story. James 1:2-4. Let me get that scripture pulled up, cut off on my page. I love the book of James, by the way. Thank you for your patience. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so testing of your faith. And this is one that I'm going to close with because it's such a powerful reminder of the perspective we need to have in difficult times. So this is James 1:2-4. And actually, I'm going to go a little further. I'm going to go all the way to 6. So James 1:2-6. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven, tossed by the wind. I'll go to 7. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is double-minded, unstable in all his ways. So if you, verse 2, count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. If you, and I've had an episode about joy, if you look at that and use the phrase from Jocko Willenick, when something bad happens, good. This happened, good. That's only going to make us stronger. That's only going to make us trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. The problem that I face is I try to lean on my own understanding. And I don't. There's so many things that happen that I just don't have an answer to. And I follow a lot of people who are way more Bible than me, meaning that they're theologians. They've studied for 20 plus years. They have gone to school. They really understand the Bible. And there's things that they just say, I don't have an answer for that. And I truly believe God designed it that way. Because if we think we should have an answer for everything, that means we think that we're God. That means we think that we know how he thinks and why he does what he does. Well, I tell you, the one thing I know why he does what he does is he challenges us so we count our many blessings. We realize how little the thing is that we're freaking out about when we look at other people's situation. So if you're wondering in the moment, why are things so unclear? Why are we going through what we're going through? Understand that time will reveal the answer to that question. Give it time. Give yourself the opportunity to reflect. Give your opportunity to be grateful that you're in this moment because there is a lesson to be learned. God's chosen this moment to teach you a lesson. Be happy. Be happy that, that you have an opportunity to learn something and you're not just floating down the river. That he knows that you have the ability to trust in him, endure through this moment. And my daughter has revealed that so many times over the last 2 years. It's absolutely incredible to see her strength and to see at 15 the lessons that she's learning that I didn't learn until well into my 20s. And it's only going to make her better. It's only going to make her stronger. It's only going to make her be able to help other people when they encounter situations like that, because she will have real world examples of how she managed to get through it. It also reveals to her and shows to her is how to treat other people. and that's one of the biggest lessons. I know in my professional career, when I had a bad boss, I took that as an opportunity to learn what not to do. And there's situations that she's in of she can use how she's feeling to make sure that she never does that to someone else. And that's important. That's really important. And the better we can treat others, the better we'll be. and it's an important lesson. So I'm now talking in circles. I was able to share the scripture that I wanted to share. I was able to share the message that I wanted to share. This was a fast one, which is, I'm sure, great for you. You can listen and move on with the rest of your day. Please let me know what you think about this. I appreciate you. I love you. This is Pathways to Greatness podcast, and I'm your host, Jeff Forrester.